Welcome to the How to Adult with Travis Walker podcast. We have an amazing show ahead of us today. The lovely and amazing and talented couple that run Happy Basset are going to be giving us all of the knowledge, learning us all of the things today. So make sure that you go and follow them at The Happy Basset on Instagram. Today we're going to talk about side hustles again. This is part 2 of our side hustle series. Today we're going to dive deep into adaptation, niching, balancing time, and working with your partner if your partner is your, partner. So make sure that you listen to the whole episode. More importantly, y'all, follow my Instagram and Facebook at HowToAdultTW. And if you really like this show, make sure to click the contribution link that is in the description and contribute to the How to Adult with Travis Walker podcast. So without further delay, let's get into the show. And remember, showing up isn't half the battle. It's the expectation. Let's do it. All right. Thank you so much, Laurel and Caleb, for being here. I really appreciate it. How are you doing?
Good. It's early, but we're here and we're excited.
Nice. Hopefully you're caffeinated and everything. I wanted to start off with just how you and Caleb came together as a couple. Can you explain that first?
How long do you have on the podcast,
We have a little bit of time.
We met started dating back at Texas State back in 2014. And life kind of took us different directions. But long story short, we found our way back to each other back in 2017. And it's been smooth sailing ever since. And we've been able to kind of start several businesses from there and stuff, and buy a house. And we've got 2 dogs who are our 2 kids. So it's things have changed a lot since 2014. But but I think that it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. We met through a mutual friend. Caleb was going to live with some of my friends that I met through orientation. I met Caleb because they were having a concert at what used to be Superflies in San Marcos, which is no longer there. And then he thought I was cute, and so that's it. That's the story.
That's the story. Awesome. That's an awesome love story. So what is y'all's main gig? Like what you actually do for work?
For money. So I work at UT and I'm an academic advisor. I've been there since January of 2017.
Wow. Nice.
And I am an auctioneer. So it's kind of been a family business forever. Since I was born, whenever I was like 6 and 7, I was working for my parents' auction company. So I went to school, kind of figured out if I wanted to do other things. I worked in sports for a little while, and then I ended up back in auctions. So
nice. So are you one of the guys that like talks really fast and does that?
I can. We normally do online auctions, just because it's in today's kind of market and stuff. But that's certainly still a part of it.
Nice. Sorry if that's a stereotype, but that's super interesting to me. Awesome. So how did you fall upon your side hustle? Maybe you could tell us what your side hustle is, and then tell us how you stumbled upon that side hustle.
Yeah, so I think the one that we're talking about today, I guess, is mainly going to be Happy Basset.
Yeah.
I say that because Laurel, bless her heart, is just always dealing with my ideas of side hustles. So
we have a garage full of side hustle ideas.
It's just kind of like a dartboard when we kind of figure out which one works. And luckily, the Happy Basset stuff has been working since we kind of started it. So I used to work at a pet store in Austin, and while I was working there, I really enjoyed getting to interact with people about their animals, getting to just like learn about the problems that's going on a daily basis. And I figured out that for me, it wasn't. We didn't work off commission, so it wasn't necessarily that I needed to like sell things. It was more so that I got the chance to kind of help people in a lot of situations where you need somebody who has empathy and who has the ability to just sit there and like listen to actually like what the problem is instead of just saying automatically, hey, here's the solution. So because of that, once I kind of stopped working there in Austin, I was like, I told Laurel, I wanted to keep doing this. This was a lot of fun for me. I had some good ideas that I thought would work well on a small scale, and we decided to just kind of take the leap and try it. So now we're almost a year in now. We'll be a year old in October, and we are essentially several times throughout the month setting up tent and table events, selling pet products. We've got our quarterly pet subscriptions, and we have just been making it work. Been the exact definition of hustling. For the
Yes.
essentially the past 7 months or so.
Yeah. But to also give you an idea, so Caleb has a ton of ideas literally all of the time. This was something that Caleb pitched to their family, like his brother and then his parents. And normally they'll not like pick apart the idea, but it's like, okay, but like, have you thought about this? Like, what about this? Have you thought about whatever? And like, this was something where they were like, this is really cool. And so like, for me, that was like, okay, they also believe that this is also a good idea. So maybe we should move forward with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you have family support, that's a really big deal. So there's several sides to Happy Basset, which is why I wanted to bring you on, because it's not just one thing. It of what I've noticed, it's like 3 different things, which is the pop-up shops, the subscription box, and I would say the podcast is also a branch as well. Would you dive in a little bit into each of those 3 branches a little bit?
Yeah, so we'll start out with kind of how the company started overall. So the initial idea was just a subscription product. We believed that, BarkBox and there's Super Chewer, all of them, there's probably 30 or 40 of them out there. But they're all focused on kind of the same, like they start from the same starting point and ideas, right? And I think that's kind of a failing sometimes. I think sometimes you need to take a step back or start from a different perspective, and then you're able to kind of bring a totally different product to somebody. So our whole idea was that we're going to focus only on products that are women-owned, products that are sustainable, what we'd call ethical or humane, and that just largely kind of promote the social good or make the world a better place. And so from doing that, I think for some people that might have been like a little bit of a hindrance because you can't use as many products as some of these other people do. But for us, it was almost like bumpers in bowling, right? Like we had this exact mainframe of where we wanted to be with these products and what brands we wanted to source. So it's been really easy for us to look at brands and say, that doesn't fit with our value system, so we're just not going to use them. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean they're not a good brand, but that just means that we feel like we can feature another brand that other companies like us aren't featuring. So that's kind of where it started. And from there, it kind of grew because we opened this company up in the middle of a pandemic. And one thing that we just kind of forgot about was that face-to-face meetings are so important for getting started and getting up and running, especially if you're going to have a product that is like a retail style product, right? That's essentially what we are. And even if you're only selling subscription products, if you're a major company like BarkBox, you're still going to want to do in-person tent and table events where you can promote and that kind of stuff. So
right.
We knew that was an area that we needed to get to, but the pandemic just kind of didn't let that happen. So it was a couple months of just kind of holding on and knowing that as things open back up, or if they open back up, at that time, hoping that they would, that if we can just make it to that point, we felt like we could kind of start to get ourselves out there, get our name out there and all that kind of stuff. And luckily we did. So we did one event, and the event was mainly, honestly, it was just going to be an opportunity for us to sell the subscription product face-to-face to people. I didn't anticipate this ever turning into anything else. And I think if there's anything that we're going to take from this episode of this podcast is to adapt, is to figure out like what people are telling you, what they want from you, and then change as you go. And so, sorry, like I said, so somebody had asked us to come out and sell out in front of their store. And so we did. And that is now honestly the main portion of our business, which is kind of, I guess, transitioning into that, which is tent and table events, pop-up events, as we're calling them, where we sell the exact product face-to-face to people. Once again, giving me the opportunity to, whenever people come up to the table, to say, hey, what's going on with your dog today? Did they like those treats that they tried last time? Do you guys want to try anything new? I actually get to kind of sit down and talk to these people about this stuff.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Too. Like, we were out there the other week and some guy came up, we have soaps, and some guy was like, I need some of those soaps. They were great, buying them for a friend. Like, and it's super cool to have those customers where it's like, they know that they can find you and they know that you have the product that they want.
Yeah, that's really special. That's really special for sure. And so you talked a lot about adaptation. I also want to talk a little bit about niching, which you probably understand the concept of niching because you're doing it, but our listeners may not. And so first, I want to say a niche is targeting a specific audience. And a lot of people are scared of niching when they're starting up a side hustle and starting up a business because they feel like they're narrowing down their audience. Can you tell me why that's a myth? And then can you also tell me, why did you pick your specific niche? Because I think you have a really important niche and I want to hear more about why you picked that one.
Yeah, so I guess a couple things. I think that we could have gone the route if we had an unlimited amount of spending dollars, right? We could have gone the route of not picking a niche, right? Like that was certainly an option. And to be honest, when we first started, I didn't necessarily think that we were going to be this kind of niche product. Like, I thought that we were going to be something for everybody, but the truth is we're not. And I think that, like, what you're trying to say is that's totally okay.
Right.
Because we now, excuse me, we now have more loyal customers. We have customers that are so targeted that I know whenever I'm buying a new product exactly what they're going to want, what they're expecting from me, and that kind of stuff. It also makes marketing a lot easier. Actually, it really does, because if anybody's ever Facebook, like marketed through Facebook or whatever it is, I know that that's changing now as we kind of transition into a more like kind of a private tech world. But Facebook is it works really well if you know how to target. If you don't, it tends to not work really well. So
right.
So yeah, I think that for us, it was almost more of like a necessity that we didn't have the spending dollars and the advertising money to go big, and so we needed to find the customers that we knew that I can spend this $20 on to do customer acquisition. I can spend $20, and I know for a fact that customer is at least going to come look at my website. Because they're interested in what they're interested in, whether for our purposes, whether it's sustainability or, like I said, women-owned businesses, which is where we get a lot of our customers, is that they want to find women-owned businesses and stuff. So yeah, I think just figuring out whatever it is, and I think my thing is, you don't have to have it whenever you start. I think that's okay. It's
right.
If you feel like you've got everything set up whenever you start, you probably don't. Just wait until you get some feedback, and then be okay to change. I think that was the thing too. We were talking about the podcast earlier. Like we initially released it on one day, and Laurel had given me the advice to make sure that I have it out on the same day every week, and that was great advice. But this is not my full-time job, right? And so,
right.
Just once again, it was just one of these things that I was like, it's. For us, it was just we adapted. We changed it to a different day. We've changed the frequency a couple times of how they come out, and we haven't had any sort of complaints, on our end and stuff. And it's just I think people are just happy to see that something's being done in general, and it's yeah.
But I would also say, like, in terms of choosing pets, like, so Caleb and I have dogs. You and Amber have dogs. Most folks that we know have some sort of pet, albeit a dog.
Sure.
Here in Elgin, we don't have like a pet shop. So like the one that Caleb was working with, they have a couple of branches in Austin, but it really stops there. Like we have an HEB, and there's like an Elgin general store that also sells dog food. But other than that, like we would have to go into Pflugerville or go somewhere else, or like buy it off of like Amazon or something to get like the products that we were wanting. And so that was something cool that like Caleb was like, I want to bring that here because like it doesn't exist. And most of the products that we have like are specifically for dogs, right? However, we do have dogs. But since most of the products that we have, like for example, one of the treats that we source, like it's made of like pure chicken, pure duck, pure turkey, whatever it is. So like anyone can have it. And so you don't just have to have a dog to have these things. Like your cat could eat it if they want to. And for June, for Pride Month, we had like these, y'all means all bandanas, and we were just trying to give them away so people could like have them and promote and everything. And I was like, put them on your goats. Like they're
right.
It doesn't just have to be for dogs too. So even though that's kind of what we focus on solely, like that's kind of like, do you have any dogs at home? Do you have whatever? Like you can still use our products in those neat other ways to kind of like fit the lifestyle that you have.
Yes. I thoroughly enjoyed the goat pictures. If you haven't seen the goat pictures, you need to go over to @thehappybasset because those were stellar. So I think we've really we dove already into what the main motivation is in terms of why you created Happy Basset. But is there anything else before I move on? Any other motivations on why you started Happy Basset?
Yeah, I mean, it's cliche and it's cheesy, and I think that maybe some of the people who like are in the business mindset, I think they roll their eyes. But I mean, for us, from day one, like our tagline to each other has been "Make the world a better place," right? So we always felt like if we got to a certain point with Happy Basset and it wasn't making the world a better place, then we'd stop, right? And that would be it for us. And so we've used that in every way that we, whether it's sourcing new brands, whether it's finding interviews for the podcast, which I like, we've turned down a couple interviews because like I didn't feel like they fit really within the values of what we wanted to do. And I think that's we'll see, right? We'll see if that's the right thing to do. I don't know. I feel like
sure.
But I wouldn't say that we're the experts and stuff, but I just feel like you have to have your voice, and I think you have to know what your values are, right? As a company, or mission statements, all those kinds of things. They're if you ever took a business class, they're kind of just boring, and they're, like I said, they are just kind of cliche. Everybody comes up with the same mission statements, but I think that it really is important, at least for you to know that of yourself. Maybe you don't have to have it written down, but know what you stand for. Know what your elevator pitch is of what makes you different. And it doesn't have to be this like humane philosophical thing, but just know what makes you different as a company.
Right.
And use that as your guiding factor.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. So transitioning a bit, talking about all of those motivations, I think that's really important, but I'd also like to talk about what's the status of Happy Basset today with all those motivations in mind. Have you hit some of those points? What are you still working on? What are you transitioning currently at? I'd like to know just kind of the status with all those motivations in mind.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that we are today. What Happy Basset looks like a lot is still the quarterly subscriptions. Those are not as just to be totally honest and transparent, not as high as we thought they'd be. Right. So because of that, we did a huge shift in adapt, and we now do a lot of tent and table events, a lot of pop-up shops. We have kind of taken the mindset of like, you can be a pet store without being a brick and mortar pet store, right? So I'll come to you, I'll come to wherever you're at. Mm-hmm. I'll come to your bar, your venue, your coffee shop, whatever it is, and I'll sell there to you and make it to where you can get all of the things that you love at the same time. So that's kind of where it's really shifted. For us, we are still going to keep doing the quarterly subscriptions because it provides us an opportunity to, if anything, get those brands out there into like directly into people's homes. I think that's really, and that's kind of like the podcast and the subscriptions really go hand in hand together, because almost everybody that we've had as a part of our subscription that has either discounted product for us to buy wholesale, or in some cases nearly given it away for free just so that they can get their name out there. Mm-hmm. Any time that we've had any of those people, we've been able to get them onto our podcast, and it's just something that people aren't doing. Like, people don't ever get, like, you almost always solely nowadays talk to like a salesperson, right?
Right.
And I was blown away knowing that like I get to talk to the CEOs and the founders of these companies because they want to be the ones to tell their stories. Mm-hmm. And so it's been that part of the business has been so it's been amazing. It really has been, because Sorry if I ramble too much. I'm sorry, but
That's fine. No, you're spitting out some really good stuff for our listeners.
Whenever we first started Happy Basset, what I told Laurel is, because we watch a lot of Shark Tank, right? And so whenever we first started it, what we wanted to know was, once again, like, what makes us different? What's going to make us a company that BarkBox or somebody like them can't just replicate what we're doing as a business? And so, to me, I felt like you had to be a brand. I felt like, because we don't own the product, right? We're just sourcing the product. And granted, we're taking a lot more care than I think some of these other companies might take in sourcing that product and vetting the products and all that kind of stuff. But I still feel like the way to go was making yourself a brand, making it to where people knew you as being the store that, once again, shops sustainably, that shops ethically, and that shops women owned. If we could make people think of that when they see our sign, then I think that we've won, right? And whether or not they even buy anything, they've associated us with that, and then they're going to tell their friends. If their friends ever get a gift or need to get a gift, get a dog, all that kind of stuff, we're going to be the first place that they hopefully shop and stuff. So
Right.
the quickest way for us to do that was the podcast, and it was to really start to create a community of dog owners and pet parents that are aware and that wants, once again, to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I would say, like, in terms of stats, Kevin O'Leary and Shark Tank would not at all be impressed with our stats. But like we're happy with them, you know, like every time we do an event, like the first Saturday of the month or like the second Thursday on like the evening or whatever it is, like we sell more, if not the same that we sold like the time before. And so like for us, that's really exciting, you know, like there are obviously some days where like they're better than others, but having those repeat customers, having folks that were like, oh my gosh, like I've been looking for something for my dog's allergies and like you guys have them. And it is just putting those brands in front of those people because like they don't have them at HEB. They don't have them at our general store. Like, and you're not really going to find them unless you know where to look for them. And so being able to put those in front of people, it's fun for us. And our pets get to be the first one to trial of the products that we get. And so they love that too. And it's like, I think that it's fun. Like Caleb has a lot of fun talking to these folks, finding these products, you know, like wanting to do better for like the dogs that are out here.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about just being in a business with your partner. So how do you balance the time as full-time employees elsewhere, and then also how do you protect your relationship to make sure that this side hustle isn't hindering that in any way? Because we see several times in society that businesses and side hustles can break partners apart. And so I'd like to know how you balance the time as a full-time employee, and also how do you protect your relationship in the process of building this side hustle?
Sure.
I'll let you go first.
Okay. So yeah, I do work full-time for UT. I'm currently at home. So like I'm here literally all of the time. We will be going back sometime soon, but so that's my job. Caleb does the auctions. And so like that sometimes will take weekends and evenings and things like that. Caleb also has like an antique resale business. And so like, and that and hand in hand, like that and auctions go hand in hand, right? So that's not unusual, but that also takes time and curating the things for that and just making sure like that the booth is set up nice and that like if something sells, like you have to find something else. And like Caleb doesn't sell anything. Like it has to be curated to kind of like what the brand is for that. So Caleb has those two things, and then also Happy Basset. Caleb does a lot more for Happy Basset than I do just because of the time commitment that like I can or cannot give due to the time that I need to put obviously to my job. And I'll be like, there are some times where I'm like, I'm not excited for this event because like I wanted to have the weekend with you. Like I wanted to have this morning with you. And we don't ever really get that just because it's like working at auctions, doing the antique stuff and Happy Basset. And it's literally every day, right? So there are times where like I get frustrated just because I don't get the time necessarily that I feel like I want. But I also know that Caleb is going to eat, sleep, and breathe these things until like he's happy with them. But that's also who Caleb is. And so I'm not mad at it at all. And so that's just something that I know that I need to work on as like a human. And we do try and take time, like this weekend we're not doing anything. Like this weekend we're just gonna hang out and like watch the races, and like Caleb's family is coming to town. So like that's something cool. But
Wonderful.
I think like it's a conversation to have. Like whenever I was like, I'm not excited about this event, Caleb was like, well, let's chat about it. Like, let's see what else we can do to make up for the time that we would have had not going to this event.
Yeah, I think, I mean, just relationship advice to myself as I listen to this later on, right? I just need to remind myself. I think that there's always be dating, right? And I think that's like we're engaged. We're getting married in November, but I think that's one of the best advice that I ever got from, I don't remember who I got it from, but I heard it at one of the weddings that I went to, and that's something that I needed, like, yeah, constantly remind myself, is always be dating. That means always be courting, right? So buying flowers, going on dates, doing fun things, still being spontaneous, and yeah, finding times to work that. I mean, it's there. This has been a lot of fun for me, I know, to start this up, and Laurel has been the one. She's very much the realist in the relationship. She's I am the dreamer, the visionary, the inspired one, and normally I take an idea to her, and if anything, she just makes me refine the idea before we actually go, full force with it, and that's needed. If I didn't have that, then I don't think we'd be where we are today. So we each are able to kind of bring something to the company and do a different side of it. She does a lot of like the background work and stuff. So the newsletters, a lot of the podcast graphics and all that kind of stuff, she's able to do because she's much better at that than I am. So
sure.
Just, yeah, I mean, it's because otherwise I get burnt out, to be honest. I do. It's whenever you're just constantly doing stuff, and it's not that, like, I enjoy all three of the jobs that I have, but the point is that, like, feeling like there's always something to do, just no matter what, I think is going to burn everybody out eventually and stuff. So there's a couple weeks like this weekend where, yeah, I just need to just relax, just take it off. There's garage sales around the neighborhood today, so as soon as we finish up with this interview, I'm gonna go to the garage sales and
nice
buy stuff for the thing. But just because it's fun to go, and I just like to do those things. So I think, yeah, I'll always be dating and find time to do the other things, and know that, and this is something that she has been really good about kind of coaching me on, is like, know that, like, it doesn't all have to be done by this weekend, right? So we don't have to be millionaires by July or August or whatever it is. I'm building this company, or we're building this company. My whole idea for all of our companies was to, in 5 or 10 years, not have to do these, right? So
right.
As I love doing the tent and table events, the idea is that we don't always have to do these. The idea is that as we have kids and as we grow, that these are businesses that are already started up now. They're running, they work on their own, and that we just kind of get to do the things that we want to do. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of hard work now. I know that it's going to be a lot of hard work now, but I'm hoping that, like I said, in about 5 years' time, that we're able to have a totally different view of what our day-to-day lives look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of balance there. I see a lot of my relationship in y'all's relationship, because I'm like all over the place. I want to do a million things at one time, and Amber's like, you need to chill out for a moment. So I definitely see that, and even with getting Amber's side hustle, like, I was a lot more involved at first, and then I've edged back, and she's taken over a lot of the things that I was doing at first. And so I see a lot of, like, partnership aspects, finding some balance, whether that's a romantic partner that you want to start your side hustle journey with, or maybe it's even a business partner that you want to start your journey with. You've got to find somebody that balances you in some way. If y'all are both visionaries, that might not work, because you're going to get burnt out. If you're both, like, grinders, that's not going to work out, because you're not going to have the vision to look forward. And so that's a really good portion of this, that find some balance, and likely if you found the one, you're already there. That's really awesome. So what are some other challenges or sacrifices that you've had to make for Happy Basset? I think a lot of people learn from hearing about challenges. So if we haven't talked about a challenge, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. I think time for sure is one of them. Like, just the time that we have to, so like Happy Basset, but then also, like, because that is coupled with the other business and stuff that we do. But I think that also shows a lot of strength. So, like, for example, I used to run the social media for Happy Basset solely. And I was stressed beyond belief trying to find content and, like, something that was different, but also, like, because, like, I know Instagram, I follow the influencers, like, I see what, like, they're supposed to look like, or, like, what is, like, the vibe, right? And so I really wanted that to kind of not I didn't want to like duplicate it, but I wanted it to be something similar. And I was like so stressed trying to think of content and thinking like that. But then also with all of the accounts that we follow, like I could cry right here. Like Caleb follows a lot of like the shelters and like the, the adoptables and, and sometimes like they show like the abused animals and things like that. So I told Caleb, I was like, because I'll sit there and cry, like just because I want all of the animals and I want all of them in the home. And so I told Caleb, I was like, you need to take over the social media because like I cannot do it. Like one, I don't enjoy trying to figure out content every single day because like you're supposed to, right? But also seeing like all of the animals that I 100% want to adopt and bring into my home and know that I can't, like I can't do it. Caleb's much better about that. And so that's
sure
I for sure had was because I knew that Caleb had a lot of stuff going on and social media was one of the things that I was supposed to be in charge of, but I couldn't do it. Like, physically,
yeah,
could not do it.
Yeah, I think
that's another adaptation that you were mentioning earlier. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that, like I said, I think I remember the conversation, and we both like kind of told each other like this is supposed to be fun, right? Like if it's not fun anymore, if it's not making our world a better place, then like once again, like let's calm down for a little while and kind of take a break. But yeah, I think that for me the biggest challenge has been once again just getting started, not only during the pandemic, but like at a time where like I have so many other things going on. Because to be honest, if there's a version of this business plan where we, sell every single day and we go to a different venue in Austin every single day and just sell a bunch. And to be honest, like that could work, but I don't know, right? You never know. And so we haven't been able to kind of fully take that leap yet and say, you know what, we're gonna stop doing the other things. Let's see what we can do by selling every day, right? And just see what happens. And it's scary, right? It's scary because for me that's the end goal, right? Is to have this not just be a Saturday company, but be an all week long company. But the scary thing to me is that you never know when to take that full leap, to take that full jump. You never know how hard to go at it. And I think my biggest fear is that you go at it and it doesn't work, and then you feel like, okay, well, what is the point? Like, what are we doing anymore? If being a Saturday morning company is all we're ever going to be, is it worth it? Right? Is it worth it for us to keep doing that? So I think that's something that I'm like kind of constantly battling with myself is, okay, like when do we want to like really see if this is something that is going to be lasting and outlive us, right? Like when are we ready to take that chance? And we're not there yet. We're still in the Saturdays right now. But no, I think that's been the biggest challenge for me is figuring out when to take it slow, when is the right time to take the leap, because they've already had to talk me off of the ledge a couple times. I've been like we had like a really good day on a Saturday, and I was like, guys, we have to go like rent a space right now. Like we got like brick and mortar right now. Like let's go, let's do this. And they're like, okay, calm, like let's take it slow. And we get to like Monday or Tuesday, and I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. We're probably not there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but it's tough because nobody's gonna tell you that, hey, it's time, right? It's always up to you. And also I fully I believe that if you wait until people are asking you to do it, you might be too late because somebody else might already be at that point. And
sure.
And so we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, when to go all in is a really great question, and something that I think every side hustle has to answer. So that's really important. Sticking with that same theme, because I think that when people are getting started in their side hustle, there's a lot of limiting beliefs that they have to overcome. Even with me starting this podcast, I was like, are people even going to listen to this? Do people care about this content? I don't really know. And so I've had to overcome a lot of limiting beliefs, and still am doing that. I'm sure that you've had the same experience. So how have you overcome those limiting beliefs as you've gotten started?
Yeah, I think that the easiest thing to look at is the subscription side of it, right? So that was the very first month that we kicked off was December, and we were a little bit naive in thinking that like all of that was our hard work, right? So much of that was Christmas gifts, and we realized that come January. So
Sure.
that's kind of what changed us from being a monthly subscription product to a quarterly subscription product, because we realized that it wasn't going to work for us, at least at this stage, to do an every month kind of thing. So I think that through that though, like we kind of realized that, you know, it's okay to be small, right? It's okay to be the group that people know. I mean, that's largely why we use Food by Amber for a lot of our treats, right? For our events, is because we know who she is. We know exactly where they come from and all that kind of stuff. It's obviously they're really good treats as well, but that was the big deciding factor in us trying it in the first place. So I think that it's totally okay to be who you are, and just own it. I think that to me that's what I told myself several times. It's like, we don't have to be ever BarkBox. We don't ever have to be this major pet company. I think if at the end of the day we are a small town weekend pet company, that, you know, that's who we are, and we own it and have fun with it while we can. And when we have kids, I don't know if that'll work anymore, but for now it totally works. And like I said, yeah, I think you just have to tell yourself that you don't have to be to whatever goal point it is by this date.
Yeah.
Like the cliche, you'll never know until you try, right? Like if we had just bombed that first couple of months, we probably wouldn't still be doing it. But because we had the support of like some friends and family, and being able to get out like in downtown in front of folks too, like that also showed us, okay, there is some interest here. We just need to gauge what that is. And like if it is something, like if we needed to shift, be like, okay, like they don't really like these things, but they really like these things, like let's source those items. Like that was something super easy for us to see, and we wouldn't have known if we weren't able to like get out there and try.
Yeah, well,
sure.
Real quick, I'll say, so like just on that note, the quantity of items that we sell, right? That is not something that I can control very easily. It's like that's really hard to do. The quality is something that I can always control. Right. And it's the same way in auctions. I can't control the amount that the auction ends at the end of the night. What I can control, though, is the quality of the advertisements, the quality of the lot list, the pictures. All of those things are things that I can actually do myself. And so the feedback that we've gotten has taken care of a lot of those like limiting beliefs, is that we might not do a whole lot on sales, but we still on those days we have people that, for example, the other day, somebody came that they'd never met me before, but they said, oh, hey, actually, my aunt stopped here the other day, and she's like in love with you guys. And like, that was just something that, like, to me, that speaks way more to me than saying, hey, my friend spent $300 with you, right? That to me, just knowing that we were able to put out a quality product and a quality experience, I think that means that, you know what we're doing is right. And let's just forget about the numbers for a little while. And let's just say, are we doing everything that we can do quality-wise to make this the best that we can be as a company?
Yeah, and just
stellar.
On like a small note too, like we joke all the time, like, so having Basset is not paying the bills by any means, right? But it's good that we're in that position to where it's like, okay, we don't have to hustle as hard. We don't have to try, like, and we still try. Like, we want our name out there and we want people to like know us and like us. But it's like, at the end of the day, like, this is something fun for us. And until it stops being fun, like, we're still going to do it. You know, like, it's not something where it's like, okay, if we don't sell this much, if we don't eat, like, it's not like that.
Right.
So fortunate enough to be in that position to where it's like, we can still have fun with this business. And like, it's not going to make or break us at the end of the day.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome. As we're running out of time, I'd like to ask just the three rapid questions that are gonna in the show today. The first one is, what is some advice for people that are wanting to start a side hustle?
Do it.
Just do it. Love that.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it's something where you know that it's a market, you know, like, do it. Like, 100% try it out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? But do it.
Yeah, I mean, my advice is find the friend or the person that you can bounce the ideas off of, right? And I think find something that is fun. That's yeah, to me the biggest thing. Don't just do something to make money ever. Do something that you truly enjoy.
Yeah, if you make money, that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, in the process, that's just a double win. What is something, taking Happy Basset out of the conversation for a moment, just as individuals, as young adults, what is something that you're trying to figure out right now, just in general?
Dang, that's philosophical.
That's a good, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, and I'm sure like y'all experience too, it's like you should be hitting a milestone now. And it's like, I feel like, okay, we're still young. We have this home, but like, what's the next milestone? And it's like, I think that's a milestone in itself. And so I think just trying to figure out like, I don't know, like where we want to be long term really is kind of like what I'm thinking.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
I
think we're always thinking about that. I mean, we're in the middle of like planning a wedding. We bought a house not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we've started up essentially 3 businesses here in this area, and figuring out if this area is where we want to be, right? Like there's a lot that goes into it. And yeah, I think there's always these kinds of questions that are just in my mind. I don't really know what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Like in my mind, I still think that we're like 23-year-olds that just graduated, but like we're 100% not. And so it's like, okay, we're here now. Like what is the next step? And I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's totally fair. A lot of people feel that pressure right now, and that's a lot of the reason why I'm starting this podcast is like, it's okay to feel that pressure, and here's how you get through that. Mm-hmm. And so that's really good. Thanks for that. And just to close, y'all, where can listeners learn more about Happy Basset and you? Plug that.
Yeah, absolutely. We so the best place is, we're probably the most active on Instagram. So if you follow us on Instagram at The Happy Basset, or you can actually visit our website and buy any of our awesome women-owned, sustainable, humane products at happybasset.dog.
Awesome.
Subscribe to the podcast as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Go over and listen to the Happy Basset podcast. I've enjoyed it. I listened to a few episodes before this, and it is stellar. So make sure that you do that, and make sure you like my podcast as well and follow it. That's really important. All right, we're going to end this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing show. We can learn so much from Laurel and Caleb's story. I know I did. So make sure you go and follow them at The Happy Basset. Their story actually reminded me of a quote from Scott Trench, which is, if 9 out of 10 businesses fail, that means I need to start 10 businesses. So that means we have to keep grinding. We have to keep trying. We have to have fun with the process. See what sticks, and as always, start cooking with gas. Make sure you follow the Instagram and Facebook at HowToAdultTW. If you love this content, consider taking a look at the contribution link in the description. Whatever you do, make sure you follow the podcast because together we're going to learn how to adult.